Hello and welcome to FPL Mate, your best mate for fantasy Premier League content for the 2020-21 season. My name is Dan and today I've got for you my team selection video. The video where I show you my score from last week, I show you what team I'm planning on setting up for Game Week 2, and I'm also going to talk about the transfers that I plan to make and my captaincy as well. So it's everything to do with my FPL journey right in this video, and hopefully I can give you some really good tips and advice going forward. So if you are into this kind of thing, this is the first time you've seen my face, please do consider subscribing, and I'm going to try and help you absolutely dominate your mini leagues, beat all of your friends, beat all of your co-workers, and yeah, we'll all go through this journey together and absolutely dominate fantasy Premier League. So without further ado, let's look at my scores from last week. So here we have my score from last week, 64 game week points, overall rank of 1.3 million-ish, which is, I guess, top 20% roughly. I think it's about top 20%. Which is not too bad. It's not too bad. I don't think it's panic stations yet. I mean, it's certainly not panic stations yet. A lot of people will look at this score and think, oh, it's only sort of a little bit above average. We're here to see someone dominate FPL. But you know what? 64 points. If I get 64 points every single game week, I mean, I'll probably win FPL. It really is that good of a score. And overall rank of 1.3 million. If I do that every single week, I will finish the season with an incredible overall rank, because this game is all about consistency. You've got to remember it's all about consistency. So if you've not got a score quite this high, or you've got a score higher than this, you know, this is one game week. So let's move on for it. But I'm really happy with this start, to be honest, and I'm more happy about it because there's nothing that's happened this game week that's made me say, oh, I've made a bad decision there. I don't think I've made any single bad decisions on reflection. So that's what we want, and I'm still happy with my squad. So let's just have a look through my players very quickly. Ryan was playing against Chelsea, only got 1 point. I wasn't expecting anything from Ryan, so happy to take him. He's a long-term pick, so that's fine. 1 point, we'll move on with that. Trent Alexander-Arnold, yes, he was very, very disappointed. It was disappointing. Liverpool defensively were really disappointing, but I'm hoping that this will give them the reality check they need and we can move on from that. James turned out to be actually a really, really good pick. He was one of my differential picks, I guess. A player who I thought had a really, really high ceiling and could actually get some goals and assists as well as clean sheets. And he's already proved that with a goal and an assist this game week 1. Taking a really nice long-range shot and also taking the corners as well, which is just so positive. So really, really happy with James. 14 points. Happy to move on with that. Really good. Kyle Walker-Peters, you know, he could have had a red card at 1 point, which was a little bit scary for me anyway. But I know he only got 1 point. It was a very disappointing for Southampton to lose to Crystal Palace 1-0 in the way that they did. It was really disappointing, in fact. But I did see a lot of positives with Kyle Walker-Peters. He was playing very, very advanced. He was trying to be attacking and create assists and stuff like that. So going forward, he's going to be a really good pick as well. Salah obviously got the 20 points. He was the main man. I think the one thing that separates if you had a really good score or maybe just a good score is whether you had Salah captain or not. If you didn't have Salah in your team at all, you obviously would really struggle this game week. But those who had Salah captain had a really, really high score, and those who chose someone else might have a slightly less score. Obviously, you can see that I went Aubameyang captain, which I still, in retrospect, believe was the correct decision to make. Even when you take away penalties, Aubameyang actually had a higher expected goals and assists than Salah. So Aubameyang could have easily had 2 goals. He could have easily had an assist that game as well. So he's still a really, really good pick. And I don't regret picking him because I do genuinely believe that was the right decision at the time. And as long as I can keep making right decisions rather than, risky ones, then I'm all happy with that. So I still collect the 20 points from Salah. Disappointing I couldn't get 40 points from Salah, but, you know, I made my decision and, there's no point looking back on it now. Son was a little bit disappointing, if I'm honest. Spurs were a little bit disappointing in general, to be honest. Alan Saint-Maximin, 3 points. But you know what? It's a 5.5 million midfielder. I'm not going to expect a big haul every single game week. And, we'll see how he gets on moving forward because, like I say, he's only a cheap guy. Werner looked really positive in the first half. I guess the only thing he actually contributed was an assist for the penalty, so he was brought down in the box by the Brighton keeper Ryan, who is also on my team, and he obviously won the penalty for Jorginho to then convert. So he had a positive looking first half. Chelsea didn't look so good. Well, Werner didn't look so good in the second half, but there's lots of injuries, players coming back from injury for Chelsea. And Ziyech has got to come back, Pulisic has got to come back, Werner's got to bed into the Premier League a little bit. So I'm okay with the 5 points, and we'll move on and we'll see what he can do going forward. Mitrovic was the biggest disappointment with Mitrovic is the fact that he didn't start the game. There was no reason to suggest that he wouldn't start the game, and then suddenly he starts on the bench and he only gets 1 point. So I think a lot of us were probably disappointed with that, weren't we? But I would expect Mitrovic to play next game. He plays against Leeds, but we'll talk about that in a second. And then finally, Che Adams, 2 points, but he had sort of the biggest chance of the game. He could have easily had a goal if it wasn't for Crystal Palace's goalkeeper, Guaita, pulled out an absolute worldy save for Adams' shot. So, yeah, Adams, to be honest, looked the better, the more likely to get points last game week than Ings. So I'm happy with Adams. I'm happy to move forward with him. So, yeah, like I say, it's not an amazing score. It's a pretty good score, but it's not an amazing score. But there are so many positives to take out that I'm not anywhere near panicking. But let's talk about how I'm going to be moving on going forward, and let's pick my team out. So first of all, I think we should start off in goal. So yeah, no surprises, same goalkeeper as last game. I've gone for Matt Ryan. It's slightly easier game this week against Newcastle. Obviously, Ryan is my set and forget goalkeeper. But there's a very good chance that he gets a clean sheet there. Brighton actually looked quite good last game, but, we'll see how Ryan gets on there. I think he could easily get a clean sheet. And then going on into defence, Trent Alexander-Arnold. Yes, he disappointed last game, but he's still Trent Alexander-Arnold, isn't he? So he's going to be coming up against Chelsea. And I think, Chelsea not great defensively. Could Trent Alexander-Arnold provide a little bit of an assist or something? I think there's a very good chance of that. I don't know if Liverpool will keep a clean sheet against Chelsea, though. So that's why I put it down as a red. Not expecting clean sheet points, but I do think that there could be attacking returns there for Alexander-Arnold. Moving on, and it's Luke Ayling. Luke Ayling obviously was on my bench last week because he was playing against Liverpool. This week, he's against Fulham. Fulham at home. So a really good fixture. And Ayling really impressed me last week, actually. He could have easily had an assist if Bamford's finishing was a little bit better. And Leeds, they look like they really want to go out and win games. So whereas I was sort of initially thinking, well, Leeds have a good championship defensive record, so they could get a few clean sheets. Now I'm thinking, well, actually, I knew Ayling was an attacking player anyway, but I'm thinking now, Ayling, he could actually come really good for attacking returns as well. So yeah, I think this could be a good game for him. So I'm quite confident there. Kyle Walker-Peters, I've got next up against Tottenham. Tottenham were obviously disappointed last game week 1. Kyle Walker-Peters, I think he can provide something going into this game against Tottenham. I don't think Tottenham are going to suddenly become a lot better, but then again, I could say the same about Southampton. So to be honest, it's a bit of a toss-up there. I don't know exactly what's going to happen, but Kyle Walker-Peters is an attacking enough player, and Tottenham didn't score last game. Will they score this game? I'm not sure. So there is potential there. There is definitely potential there. So he's staying in. Then moving on into midfield, I've got Mo Salah up against Chelsea. Chelsea, like I say, defensively, they show some fragilities, don't they? Especially their goalkeeper Kepa. His save rate is continued from last season. Really, he let an awful howler in from Trossard last game week. So yeah, I do think Salah can do some damage there. I'm not necessarily thinking huge damage, and I'm not 100% sure about captaincy for Salah, but there is potential for captaincy there as well. Aubameyang is the one I'm really looking at as the player who I think is going to have a very good game week. He's up against West Ham. West Ham looked rubbish last week, and they looked rubbish all season last season, didn't they? And Aubameyang looked really, really, really good against Fulham. I'm surprised he only got 7 points, because he could have easily got more points than that. And I expect that sort of good form from last season, last game week. I don't know why I keep saying last season, from last game week, and the fact that he's now signed his more permanent anyway contract with Arsenal to stay on for a few more years. I think there's going to be a real positive vibe. There seems to be a positive vibe around Arsenal right now. And I really think Aubameyang is going to do some serious damage against West Ham. So that's the player I'm looking at the most this game week. So I don't know, maybe he's a must-own player of this game week, to be honest. Son is up against Southampton. Like I said, he was a little bit disappointing last game week. But he's got Southampton. What's going to happen in the Southampton game versus Tottenham? I really don't know. That's a game I will be keeping a close eye on, just because I don't really know what's going to happen there. Alan Saint-Maximin against Brighton. I know I've got Ryan in goal, but just as easily as Ryan could keep a clean sheet, Alain Saint-Maximin could score a goal. It wasn't massively impressive last game against West Ham, but this game, he's a great player, I think, and he was rested in midweek for the League Cup game, so he come on a little bit at the end. I know there's some minor injury concerns for Alain Saint-Maximin, but I think that's sort of been squashed by now, and he will be playing against Brighton this weekend. And then moving on to my forward players, and my first forward is obviously Timo Werner. As you can see, he is on yellow right now. He is supposedly a little bit injured. He's had a dead leg, I believe, was the final verdict. So it's currently at 75% chance of him playing. I think that he probably, in all likeliness, will play. I think if Liverpool are anywhere near as bad as they were defensively last game week, I think Werner could get a goal here, sort of terrorising the sort of Joe Gomez or someone like that. So if Werner does play, I do think that it could be potentially goals there, depending on if Liverpool do sharpen up defensively after that poor performance in the first game week. But yeah, it's about whether he plays or not. I'm going to wait for press conferences. I'm going to watch Frank Lampard's press conference and see what the final verdict is there. But I do think right now that Werner is going to play. So no concerns there for me until a concern presents itself, I suppose. And then Mitrovic, obviously, against Leeds. Like I said, it's a game between two promoted teams, so both Ayling and Mitrovic are going to have a good little advantage going into this game, as in both of them are capable of getting a score here. It's probably going to be one or the other, though to be honest, Mitrovic could score, Ayling could easily get an assist or a goal as well, to be fair. So we'll see what happens there. But Mitrovic, I do expect him to start this game week. I don't know why he didn't start last game week. I think he had a sort of a minor knock, but he came in the second half, so I do expect him to start this game, and I hopefully he can get back to sort of his normal ways of bullying defenders and scoring goals and being really aggressive and being pretty much the only guy at Fulham who gets any goals, the main man, the real main man at Fulham. So we'll see what happens there. And then finally, I've got Che Adams. Again, like I said, last game week he was unlucky not to score, so maybe he scores against Spurs. I'm really hoping that he does, to be honest, but I'm not going to panic on him yet. He was always a bit of a risky player to put in. He did prove last week that he is capable of getting some good opportunities to score. Like I said, he looked better than Danny Ings in terms of who was most likely to score. So I'm going to go with him again, roll with him again, and that's all looking good. We'll look at my bench very quickly. I'm not going to talk about Walton or Ferguson. I'm not expecting either of them to play. Both of them have injuries. I'm putting Reece James on the bench despite his big score last game week, but it's up against Liverpool. So I just know that Liverpool are going to score, and I don't trust Chelsea's defence enough. If it was an easier game, James would be straight on. I'd be loving to roll with him for some more games. But yeah, we'll leave him on the bench for now. Burke also on the bench, didn't get any minutes. I am quite keen to see him getting some minutes eventually, but for now he can just sit on my bench. He can wait around on my bench for his opportunities to come, but it hasn't quite come yet. So that's my bench, and I suppose let's do the transfer. So yeah, one transfer to make, 0.5 million, well 1.5 million in the bank, sorry. I'm not going to tease it any longer, because you guys, if you've been watching me before, you know exactly what I'm planning, and it's Son to Bruno Fernandes. The decision is pretty easy, and it was made easier by Spurs not playing so well last game week. So yes, Bruno Fernandes is going to come in for Son. I've now got my Manchester United asset for this game week against Crystal Palace. So I'm very, very pleased about that. No Man City players in my team yet. Man City play up against Wolves, so that's a kind of a tough fixture for Man City. They have a pretty bad record against Wolves, so I'm not going to jump in on Man City just yet, but we can start thinking about Man City moving forward after this week. But for now, the Manchester United asset is in, and it's the main guy. And honestly, if there was as many penalties as there were last game week, then I think then Fernandes is obviously a fantastic choice, because game week 1 really was a game week of the penalty, wasn't it? And maybe game week 2 will follow a similar trend. If anyone's going to get a penalty, it's going to be Manchester United, and who's going to take it? We think it's going to be Bruno Fernandes. So set pieces, corners, penalties, being the creative hub of that Manchester United team, getting in the box when crosses come in to finish off chances, shooting from outside the box. Bruno Fernandes, he has it all. the end of last season just proved how good he was. He was getting sort of 15 points, then another 15 points, then 14 points the next game week. He was just insane. He was absolutely amazing. So yeah, I'm really, really happy to be able to have Bruno Fernandes in my team at a time where not a lot of people do have Bruno Fernandes in their team. You can see his ownership there is 21.5%. Not a lot of people have jumped in on him yet. Perhaps they'll be looking to get him in the next few game weeks. Not sure. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I'm very pleased to be one of the first owners of Bruno Fernandes, I guess. And yeah, hopefully there's big things. So captaincy, I think I've made it pretty obvious that my armband is going to be going on Aubameyang. So yeah, expecting a big score against West Ham. So we'll see what happens there. And then vice captain, it's going to go straight on the new boy, and that's Bruno Fernandes. Home against Crystal Palace. Just the fact that it's a home game, the penalties is always a good shout. To be honest, Aubameyang is going to play anyway, so there's very, very small chance that it will even go to Bruno Fernandes. But yeah, he's given the armband anyway. So there you go. That is how I plan to line up for game week 2. And you know what? I think it looks pretty strong. There's a lot of greens there. There's a couple of greys there, but nothing really to be concerned about. So yeah, honestly, if I can get another game week rank next game week around the million mark, then that's going to set me straight up to about 500,000 overall rank, something like that. So yeah, I'm feeling pretty positive. I'm just more looking forward to getting to sort of game week 4 or 5 and actually getting a better idea of where I am in terms of my rank. But yeah, there you have it. Plenty more videos to come. I've got so many more videos planned this week that are really, really going to help you specifically in terms of transfers. I'm going to help you out with some of your transfers decisions probably tomorrow, so do stick around for that. Please do consider subscribing if you haven't done already. As I say, turn that notification bell on as well, so you don't miss a single video, because these are really important videos. Everyone is going to help you increase your rank, beat your rivals in your mini league, and yeah, we're really going to help you out. So yes, like the video, subscribe. If you want to check out the description, visit my Twitter page. I post loads of stuff on Twitter, maybe Instagram as well, although I don't post as much there. My Patreon link is in the description as well if you want to support this channel and sort of chat with me and stuff like that. And my mini league is in the description as well if you still haven't joined that. I know, I think about 10,000 of you have joined the mini league now, which is just insane. So thank you so much for that. But if anyone hasn't joined yet, I'm sure there's not very many of you left who haven't joined it, but please feel free to join that as well. But with that all said, and that was a lot of things to say, thank you so much for watching, guys, and I hope to see you on the next one. See you later, mates. Bye-bye.